Welcome to the cybersecurity talks for the academic year 2021 and 22. As per the guidelines received from the University Grants Commission to the various universities regarding the increasing the security attacks in the internet space, especially the India has become the main target to perform the various security attacks. The government of India under Ministry of Home Affairs, they have started a division called Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center. Under this, they have brought various platforms, that is, especially the investigative agencies, under one platform, such as National Cybercrime Threat Analytics, National Cybercrime Reporting Portal, Joint Cybercrime Investigation Team, National Cybercrime Forensic Laboratories, that is National Cybercrime Forensic Laboratory Ecosystem, National Cybercrime Training Centers, Cybercrime Ecosystem Management Unit, and National Cybercrime Research and Innovation Centers. All these cybercrime different divisions have brought into one umbrella, and this particular thing is called as I4C, or Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center. The main aim of this center is to aware the citizens regarding the cybersecurity threats and frauds, cyber frauds happening in the internet space. As the new users of the internet, how they are getting this particular fraudulent calls or fraudulent things, and their attacks, their devices are going to be hacked, and if anything was wrong happened, how to report to the government or police, so that immediate action will be taken place. So this particular entire presentation, in which I'm going to present various cybersecurity threats, cyber frauds, do's and don'ts while using social media sites, incident reporting, that is reporting fraud to police and government of India, as the guidelines released by this I4C cell to the citizens, that is supposed to be communicated to the young students and the new users of the internet, some technical staff who are not aware of the use of the internet from their mobile phones, or maybe from the laptops or desktops. So what are the different course of things that they are supposed to go through in order to access the internet? So the main content from this in this presentation was taken from the guidelines provided by the Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center scheme, which is a division of Ministry of Home Affairs and Government of India. So in this talk especially, I am going to present the general introduction, why we require this planning and all. Then the security attacks in recent times reported by various news agencies, and also very famous statistical researchers who did especially the work on the getting the attack information on the internet especially during the COVID-19 lockdown. Cyber crimes and cyber threats, countermeasures for cyber frauds, do's and don'ts. Especially I will focus on the don'ts. So once you know the don'ts, automatically what you can understand what you can do on the social networking sites. Initiations of Government of India, reporting cybercrime to government, reporting fake profile to Facebook, image forensic example. These are the things I'm going to show in this talk. We know that from past 5 years in India, the internet has been used vigorously by various people, by the citizens and many organizations, because of the cheaper data rates. At the same time, the same is true for across the world. Usage of internet is growing day by day across the world. In India, the statistics are like this, related to the recent statistics. The number of internet users are over 560 million. India is the second largest internet online market after China. It is expected by 2023 that India will reach 650 million internet users. That means the penetration of internet through the villages, towns is also started because of the broadband connectivity plan introduced by the government of India, that the broadband has to reach to the village, remotest village also. So with this plan, by 2023, it is expected that around 650 million internet users will be there. Around half of the Indian population had access to the internet only in the 2020 year. That means previously some internet users are there, but around half of the Indian population has used the internet vigorously in the year 2020, especially due to this COVID-19 lockdown. And there is 27% internet penetration in India just in last 5 years. And when coming to the cities, metropolitan cities in India, Delhi NCT is the city with the highest internet penetration rate in 2019. While coming to the mobile users, active mobile internet users are around 572.2 million. Monthly average data consumption per user is 13,462 megabytes. That means almost around 14 GB. Leading mobile activity is watching online videos. And second largest mobile activity is online games. In the case of social media users, monthly active social media users, 448 million users are there. Leading social networking site is YouTube. Share of Facebook in social media market in May 2021 is 70%. In the case of e-commerce sites, 76.7 active users of the internet in COVID lockdown has used the e-commerce sites. 27% preferred payment via Paytm, that is payment wallets, and majority of the people has preferred the cash on delivery because of a new e-commerce site have evolved during the time, and many of the customers have not believed the new e-commerce sites that was appeared during the lockdown time. And after cash on delivery, again the payment was done in the electronic form. That was not counted here. The statistics was counted that direct payments we made via online at the time of booking, that is pre-orders, at the time of payment, at the time of ordering. Mostly purchased segments are electronics, groceries, home supplies, and medicine. Why I am focusing only these statistics? There are so many other statistics, and this statistics was taken from the statista.com website, and that is a very good website for getting various statistics related to the internet users and many other things. Why I have projected is the internet access is vigorous in these three dimensions. That is mobile users, social media users, that is accessing of social networking sites, and electronic commerce, where the payment involved. And another thing is internet banking. Everyone will be having their own security in internet banking. However, the e-commerce sites, social networking sites, sometimes you can have multiple logins, and they may not be having some session management kind of things. And sometimes they will remember the browsers, they will remember the devices. These kind of things are there, so multiple logins are possible. We'll see the security attacks in recent times, so that to have the an eye-opening that how many security attacks and how the fraudsters from outside and within the country and also outside the country are looking for grabbing the hard-earned money of the public. So here is an article in Indian Express which was published on August 2021. Anti-phishing portal sees steep rise in cybercrime compliance amid pandemic. In the Business Standard, it was given that India become favorite destination for cyber criminals amid COVID-19. Outlook on 3rd October 2021, it was given that government portal records over 4 lakh cybercrime complaints in less than a year. So this is, as someone told, the First World War totally deals with physics. Second World War totally deals with chemistry, and the third, if any other world war comes, then it is totally information war. So here the war is by the hackers, which is sitting from out, which are within the country or may not be, maybe outside the country. So the government portal records over 4 lakh cyber crime complaints in less than a year. That means especially during this COVID-19 lockdown. And here, if you look at in the Economic Times e-paper, it was somewhat older one, that is November 18, 2020. Cybercrime on rise with more people shopping online, especially that is again due to the COVID lockdown. And at the time that is the first lockdown is over, and some relaxations has been given. So this is what the situation. So by keeping it in everything in mind, so the government of India is also has taken some initiations, and I am going to present those what are the possible attacks, and what are the initiations taken, and how to report to the government and also to the police. So type of cyber crimes, as was given by the classification, that identity theft, psychological tricks, social media related attacks, digital banking frauds, attacks through mobile applications, virus attacks on personal computer. So these are the four. These are the six different cyber crimes that was categorized, and majority of the cyber that is complaints received was are falling under these four categories, so six categories. So here, identity theft is nothing but it is wrongfully obtaining someone's personal details. The details may be name, address, bank account information, PAN number, email information, Aadhaar number, etc. So by using this identity, the fraudsters, what they do is they will gain access to the bank accounts. They may create or may apply for the loans, credit card, or open insurance accounts, and file a tax refund on your name to get refund, obtain driver's license, passport, immigration papers, create new utility accounts, get medical treatment on your health insurance, assume your identity on social media. So this is the main attack. This is the main threat that is the public is posing. That is assume your identity on social media, and they're asking their friends some money that by giving the message that I am in some difficulty, please send some money, like that. So give your name to police during the arrest time. So because they will create a fake Aadhaar ID, father Aadhaar card, or maybe any other thing with your name as the Aadhaar name. So they may go for the bettings and these kind of things where Aadhaar number is required. So they may place your Aadhaar number. So these kind of things are happening, and these type of complaints were received. So various frauds that are performed with this are hacking or gaining access to social media accounts, misuse of photo copies of identity proofs, and credit card skimming. So these are the three main categories of frauds under this identity theft. So here, first, hacking or gaining access to social media accounts. So these are the things that you are supposed to take care of to countermeasure the possibility of attack. Do not close the browser window without logging out the account. So always you please log out the account, and if it is possible, you log out from all devices. There is an option called log out from all devices. You log out from all devices, since you know the way of again logging. So it is very easy for you to log in afterwards. Otherwise, some mobile phones, if you are operating from mobile phones, the mobile phones sometimes may provide you the what you call screen lock or password, especially to open some particular specific apps. If such facility is there in your mobile phone, you may use that facility to lock the apps. Use two-step verification such as one-time password while using someone else's computer. So this is a very, very important thing that you can remember in this. So always use two-step verification. Do not save your username and password in the web browser. By default, whenever a new username password is entered, then web browser will immediately will give you that, do you want to save this password? So please don't do like that, especially whenever when you are working in the unknown computers, like in an internet cafe, or maybe with the public Wi-Fi. Whenever you connect to the public Wi-Fi and you are operating, in such a cases, never save the things via browser, and register your mobile phone with the social networking sites to get alerts. So once you register, you make it as private, so that only you can see the mobile phone mobile number. No one can see the mobile number whenever the profile search is made. So in the event of unauthorized access, permanently delete all documents downloaded on computer if you are working in the cyber cafe. So don't let any document to be in the downloads folder. You delete all the downloads folder by all the downloaded documents in the download folder by shift delete. Coming to the misuse of photocopies of identity proof, never provide details of copy of identity proofs. So it is majorly happening in the photostat during the photostat, and they may say that okay, photostat is not properly came. So then simply they try to dispose that before you, and they'll throw in dustbin, and they will take the new photocopy and they will give it to you. So you never bother about the photocopy that was thrown into the dustbin. So later on, that copy may be used by some fraudsters for creating fake identities. So because the number is very important, so once you got the number, automatically they can get anything. Because nowadays the number is sufficient for the thing to create any fake things. So, and one more thing is, whenever you provide the identity, that is sorry, this Aadhaar number, photocopy or something, for any other official purposes or any other as a submission, then you write on the Aadhaar ID, this copy was provided for loan sanction, or the copy was provided for getting so and so account. You are supposed to write on the Aadhaar card, that is photocopy of the Aadhaar card, in a crossed manner, so that they don't have opportunity. Please don't they don't have opportunity to recopy it or may submit to some other place. So that is the best way to do like that. Be careful while using photo identity proofs at suspicious places. Do not share sensitive information like date of birth, date of place, family details, address, phone number in public platforms. Always strike out photocopy of identity proof. Write the purpose of its usage overlapping the photocopy. Just now, as I told you, this photocopy is for some job application, like that. Something you write on the thing. This way, it becomes difficult to reuse the photocopy. Do not leave your credit card, debit card, or ATM card receipts behind in place, such as bank, ATM, or store, any place. Just to if you don't want your the receipt, okay, first of all, don't accept the receipt. If you receive the receipt, then just to tear off there itself, and if possible, come to your home and keep it in throw it in dustbin. Next one is credit card skimming. Actually, skimming is a process of duplicating the card that what you are using. So for this, there exist some specific missions called skimming missions. Those skimming missions usually used by the ATMs, that is by the merchants at various places. So this credit card or debit card skimming will be done by the especially during the petrol pumps where you fill the petrol, and especially in the hotel or restaurants, okay, where you go for the dining. So always ensure that credit card or debit card swipes at shopping malls, petrol pumps, etc. are done in your presence only. Do not allow the salesperson to take your card away to swipe the transaction, because they may put in the skimming machine so that it will read everything from the magnetic strip of the debit card or credit card. That magnetic strip consisting of the card information, expiry date, CVV number, everything will be there in that magnetic strip. Once that information they get, they can they can create another magnet strip of the same with the same information, and also they can manufacture the same credit card with the same information. So look out for credit or debit card skimmers anywhere in your swipe card when you are swiping the card, especially at the petrol pumps, ATMs. In the ATMs, you check the keyboard and is there anything was attached on top of the keyboard. At the same time, you check whether the machine that petrol pump agent is going to is going to use was really given by any bank or any official payment gateways, maybe like Paytm or Phone Pay or anything. Usually there will be a sticker on that, or maybe there may be a inbuilt logo on that machine that it was given by so and so bank or it was given by Paytm or something. So if nothing was found, then you please suspect it, and you may use you use QR code. If you notice a credit card or debit card reader that protrudes outside the face of the rest of the machine, it may be a skimmer. So never share your PIN with anybody, however close to it may be. I have seen some of my friends, so their children know the PIN of the debit card. So this kind of things will not be accepted. Even your children or your known people or maybe your close dear and near, never share the PIN, because the children don't know that okay, they will simply announce the PIN number in the public sometimes. Okay, so that means if sometimes if you may forget the PIN number when you are typing, when you are asked for, at the time your kid may announce that Papa, this is your PIN number. So this kind of things may happen. So hence never share your PIN number with anybody, however close they may be. Attackers play with mindset, especially in the case of psychological tricks. Usually attackers play with the minds of the user to trap them with some attractive offers. So in this, phishing, wishing, and smishing are the three categories. Phishing is the act of sending fraudulent emails that appears to be from legitimate source. For example, bank, a recruiter, that your credit card company, etc. That means they will give the post that okay, your bank account has been blocked, or you are supposed to change the password of your internet account. These kind of things they used to send. So never open such mails. Never open such mails, or never click links on the such mails. So wishing is similar to phishing, but instead of email, in this type of crime, the fraudsters use telephone to obtain sensitive personal information and financial information. Just they will make a phone call and they will say that you have the attractive offer for the COVID-19 treatment. Are you willing to do this with a lower, very low rate of EMI, not EMI, this premium, you can get a higher amount. So this kind of attractive offers, they will say, sometimes you have won the trip to so and so places. Okay, this kind of information they used to pose to, especially to attract the attention of the customer or attention of the victim. So smishing is the SMS equivalent of phishing. While coming to this, in this SMS will be sent to you like you have won the lottery, or job offers are there. Okay, earn 3,000 to 5,000 rupees per day. Call so and so number. This kind of SMSs usually you will get, and also they will attach a website or web link or a phone number like that. So once you click the web link, or when you call the phone, that's all. Your entire information will be known to them, especially like mobile number, IEMI number of mobile. So many things may be known to that. So especially this is a trick into the providing sensitive information, personal information like debit card details, etc. to the attacker. So phishing, wishing, and smishing are done in attempt to steal money from the victims or cause any other harm to the victim. So hence, in this, the first thing is lottery fraud. Do not respond to the messages from the unknown sources. Do not respond to suspicious emails. If suspicious emails comes, then make it as spam or junk. If you are using Gmail, there is a junk spam options are there. You can categorize whatever the spam you option you want. Do not transfer money to untrusted unknown accounts. And it is just like you have won the lottery. You got a QR code to your UPI account. Just to click that and say send. So actually, it is a requesting money type of action. So whenever requesting money type of action comes, then automatically you will get a notification that somebody has requested money. But the fraudster, what he will do is he will make a phone call to you and say that so you have got the lottery of 5,000 rupees. You are supposed to accept that offer in your UPI app so that 5,000 will be given to you. Actually, the 5,000 will be directed from your account and will go to that account, the fraudster's account. So hence, this kind of things don't encourage. Remember, you can never win a lottery if you have not participated in it. Okay, and this is also very very important that whenever you go to any shopping mall or anything, so there some attractive ladies or gents will stand there and they will give that, okay, so we have the offer that this you can stay in the hotel and you can have the travel just to fill this form. Okay, we'll take a lottery kind of thing like that. So never fill such kind of forms. Okay, don't encourage them, don't write anything on such forms. That form will be having the information of your email, phone numbers, etc. That is sufficient for them to have any kind of fraudulent activity. So never ever fill such kind of forms. Okay, don't ever encourage this kind of things. So always verify correctness of domain of email ID. Sometimes you will get the emails like sba.bz.in, but other things will look like SBI only. And sometimes you will get from the Paytm dot xz something dot ni dot something like that will get. So you observe the email ID and extension. So have proper spam filters enabled on your email account. While coming to the credit card frauds, do not get panic if you receive the call stating that your card has been blocked or something. So your card will not blocked by the any bank. No bank will no bank will block any savings account. Okay, card of any savings account. So nothing to worry in that. You say that, okay, it's no problem, I will go to the bank and I will do it. Okay, don't get panic in such a situation. Do not share your PIN, password, card number, CVV number, OTP to anyone. Keep your bank's customer care number handy. Sometimes this customer relation officers, this kind of people will call. So you can make note of their numbers so that you can report immediately to such immediately if any such unauthorized or suspicious activity has happened. And this is a very very dangerous complaints that was received by the government of India and many police in cyber crimes. Job related frauds. So job related frauds, like usually in the naukri.com or maybe in the other job sites, usually the unemployed used to place their resume. So the fraudsters used to access the resumes and the email IDs. They used to send the job information. Like you have got the job and you are supposed to attend an interview on so and so date. So for that we have booked. You can come to so and so hotel or something, and you can stay there. And next day morning you can attend the interview like that. So whenever they go to the hotel, they will give some welcome drink and all these kind of things. So once after taking the welcome drink, that fellow will fall down and go unconscious. So this kind of things was happened. And if they have money, the money was stolen. If they have nothing in their hand, then the organs were stolen. So this is a very 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 dangerous thing happened. So that is the reason always search and apply the jobs posted on authentic job portals. Check if the domain of email is same as one you have applied with. Okay, for example, all government websites have gov.in like that and nic.in. So if email has spelling, grammatical, punctuation errors, it could be a scam. Beware of fake emails. impersonating themselves as recruiters and requesting the personal information or money. This kind of things are there. You suspect it, immediately report to the police. While coming to the social media frauds, social media frauds are vigorously growing today, nowadays, because of the unknownness, that is the students and especially the school children and +1 +2 childrens, the one who are not that much mature in sharing the details, or they feel that okay, it is an opportunity for us to do some things like that. So in that cases, the social media frauds are increasing day by day. So fraudsters poses a threat to individual as unwanted access to social media profile and can cause loss of information, defamation, or even worse consequences such as physical or sexual assault, robbery, etc. Nowadays, we are listening so many things. So and so person has met on the social media, and to meet that person, this lady went from one place to other place and sexually assaulted. These kind of things we are listening so many news nowadays. So never trust the social media friends, okay, and unless until they personally known to you. So in this various kinds of frauds are like this: sympathy fraud, romance fraud, cyber stalking, and cyberbullying. So sympathy fraud means the fraudster will also join a public group where the victim is also there, and if the victim shares some sympathy, uh, some tragic or some any other information which is somewhat in the which needs some sympathy, then immediately the fraudster will send some sympathetic messages and emails to the victim, and they make to believe that okay, he is a real one who is really attracting, who is really taking care of that victim. So this kind of sympathy frauds and romance frauds, especially this is happening in the adult sections of the social media, especially like dating apps and dating groups, this kind of things, where this romance fraud is happening, and this once the fraudster and victim agreed to meet one place, obviously, this kind of any adverse kind of things will happen. This kind of things were reported in nowadays also in the many leading newspapers. Cyber stalking is a crime in which attacker harass a victim using electronic communication such as email, instant messaging, by posting some vulgar messages and disturbing them via some discussion groups, etc. Cyberbullying is it takes place over digital devices, like uh, like uh, uh, sending some derogative messages and some abusive messages and harmful and some false information about so and so. So that cannot be accepted as the freedom of speech. However, that will be considered as the cyberbullying, and they will be punished under the cyber laws of the Information Act 2008. So in sympathy frauds, be careful while accepting friend requests. Cyber criminals often create fake social media profiles uh, to be friend with the potential victims. Do not share personal details or getting into financial details with an unknown person. Keep family friends informed regarding the what are the suspicious activities. Always plan such a meeting, any meeting in the public places. Even it is not only the social media, but also in the case of the buying and selling over the OLX and any other media. So if you want to meet the buyer or sell buyer, then you are supposed to meet in the public places only. So romance frauds, be cautious while responding to unknown friend request. Never share intimate pictures with anyone. I will show you afterwards why you should not share any pictures. Do not share personal details or get into financial details dealings. Cyber stalking, so restrict access to your profiles. Keep the sensitive information like family information, everything is private. Ensure your personal information, photos, videos are accessible only to the trusted ones. Be careful while uploading your photos on social media. Cyberbullying, and especially this is happening on the adolescent age students. So be careful if your children behavior is changing, he or she is more aggressive than before. If suddenly your children stop talking with you or with friends, if he or she stop using digital devices or is scared, in that cases you please suspect, you counsel them and come to know what happened. Make your children aware of cyberbullying is punishable crime. Discuss safe internet practices with your friends and family members. Monitor your kids' activity on the internet. Even if the children or students know about any friend who is a victim of cyberbullying, they should help the victim. Okay, never throw the victim into isolation, otherwise they will be feel depressed. Sometimes they may lose their life also. So do not delete offensive messages, and it will help the police in investigation. Instead of deleting, you may hide it from the rest of the people. So whenever the police ask, you may unhide it and show it. While coming to the mobile application frauds, here, especially the fraudsters will design fraudulent or malicious apps, and they will try to ask you to insert it, install it on your computer, on your mobile phone. So on your mobile phone, always you turn off the third-party installation. Otherwise, it will install whatever the app they want. So with this, they will inject Trojans. Trojans are the backdoor entries, so that that backdoor entries will read the messages, can also turn on the mobile video, and also can listen to the audio. This kind of activities can also be done. So OTP, camera, contacts, email, photos, etc. This can be obtained by the attacker. So countermeasures to the mobile application frauds is always install mobile app applications from official application store. Scrutinize all permission requests. If it, for example, if it is a normal ebook reader kind of app, if it is asking the permission like a camera and all these kind of things, okay, better don't install such kind of apps, because ebook reader does not require any camera. Okay, so you look at the permission options asked by the apps. For example, a photo application may not need microphone access, but still they are asking me that you should suspect it. Regularly update the software and mobile application. That is, beware of malicious applications or malicious updates in the existing application. So these are the things that you're supposed to maintain. Always better you install a trusted antivirus software app. If you are using a phone like Geo or something, then Geo itself is providing its the Norton signed antivirus application. You may install such applications and can scan through your mobile phone. While coming to the online banking frauds, digital payment application related attacks, hacking of banking accounts due to weak passwords, hacking of multiple accounts due to same password. So it is quite common that many of the people used to place the same password for multiple accounts. Don't do like that. You change the password. Here in the digital payment application related attacks, never share your mobile unlocking PIN or password with anyone. Same like ATM password or debit card or credit card passwords, PIN numbers. Register your personal phone number with email and email with your bank, so that if any transaction will happen, immediately you will get an alert message. Always review transaction alert, because usually we'll do the transaction, especially in the case of petrol pumps and in the restaurants, we'll give the ATM card or debit card or something, and we never see the transaction alert. So you just go to the transaction alert, because if the fraudster is doing some extra transaction, then you cannot come to know. Always keep a maximum transaction limit. So nowadays you can place a maximum transaction limit for your bank on a particular at any time, like maybe 40,000, 30,000 per day or like that. So secure your application with a strong password with a two-step verification. Uninstall any compromised or malicious applications immediately. So if the weak password is there, you better you use multiple digits and multiple operators and symbols, this kind of things. So that it must be very tough to search. For example, written a password, you have taken a password of 10 characters, then that too from the English alphabets, the first 10 English alphabets. So that means how many permutation combinations required to crack that password. So that is within another 5 to 10 minutes, you can easily crack the password. But if you might have involved the operators, underscore, at the rate, capital letters, small letters, numbers, and all, then automatically the search space is too large. So hence it is very difficult for anyone to crack the password. So you use the passwords like this. Next, don't use the same password for multiple accounts. Try to use the different passwords, and you follow the password procedure previously mentioned. So while coming to the virus attacks on personal computers, especially don't encourage the insertion of the USB drives or external devices. Like virus attacks through external devices, a virus can enter computer through external devices like pen drive or hard disk. Usually, you will place the a USB drive or something in the cyber cafe or in public computers. Then if you try to inject in your personal computers, obviously virus may attack. So virus attacks by downloading files from untrusted websites. So don't never download any file from untrusted website. If you want to download any application, go to the corresponding website and download. For example, Software Informer, Software this kind of thing, and Mega Upload. These kind of websites will be there. Never download application from that websites. Virus attack by installation of malicious software. That the virus can enter into a computer by installing software from untrusted sources, which is also called as gift wrapper. Usually, it is called as gift wrapper in the ethical hacking. That the virus, for example, you want to download a chess application. For that chess application, a virus file is injected, is attached and wrapped. You will feel that only the chess application is installing, but background, because of the administrative permissions that you may give, uh, in the background, this virus application will also be installed, and will listen in silent mode, in silently, that what are the activities happening on the desktop. So this kind of things will happen. So hence you be alert in this. And this is another very, very dangerous attack, the dangerous fraud happening over cyberspace, matrimonial frauds. Matrimonial websites provide a convenient and user-friendly interface for youth and parents to search, interact, and choose a suitable partner. However, unreliable websites may lead to fraud. So how to suspect the fraudsters in this? If a person is reluctant to come on the video chat or meet in person, he or she. So here, not only he, she also possible. She can be a fraudster as profile picture posted on. Matrimonial websites may not be his or her. Somebody may be operating. A fraudster may express his or her love in just a short span of acquaintance. Fraudster will usually call from multiple numbers. He or she usually don't give a number to call back. Whenever you ask, they will say that, okay, I will call back. But callback number is not same as the previous callback number. They do not pick up when you call. Later, he or she calls you back from new number. So these kind of things were observed. If a person keeps asking financial information in the first visit or first thing itself, or keep on asking the financial information, then you may suspect that fellow is a fraudster. A fraudster may not have social media profile or have a few friends in the social media. In such a cases, you can suspect that another person is a fraudster. So countermeasures for this: go for verified matrimonial sites. Create a new email ID for matrimonial websites. Don't use your regular email ID. You create a new email ID. You can create plenty of email IDs in Gmail. You can do any number of email IDs. So always do a background check of a prospective match. So always you go in Mufti or in multiple in different thing. Just you go for there and go for background check. Always keep your family informed about what happened on the day. Always meet in public places. The regularly going restaurants or maybe the hotel people. Somebody. So you always go to that place and sit in front of the CC cameras. Okay. Ask enough questions. Do not share personal information. Never share your sensitive personal photographs. Never entertain any request for money. Be cautious while dealing with NRI profiles. So this is a very, very important thing that you need to consider. Next one is some other cyber frauds are like this: mortgage fraud, credit or debit card fraud, deceptive interest rate reduction robocalls, fake charities. So nowadays you are seeing on YouTube and all that my kid is having this one and please donate, this kind of things. We cannot verify whether they are really true or not. Maybe true or may not be true. So like that, so many fake charities are there, especially to get the money from the people and do for illegal activities. So hence, I cannot say that okay, those are all fake, but you should verify before go for charity. Cyber terrorism. This is a very, very important thing in the social media, that they will attract the uh, people of one set mindset. Then they will try to tune that mindset so that they will favor the terrorism activities in the country. Prize and lottery fraud, already we have seen. Hotel and tour package fraud, debit card collection fraud, COVID-19 scams. Many scams are there in COVID-19. While coming to the social media platform, do's and don'ts while using social networking sites: do not accept friend requests from strangers. Do not trust online users unless you know that you can trust them. Do not share your personal information such as address, phone number, date of birth, etc. on social media. Identity thief can easily access them. Do not share your sensitive personal photographs. Share your photo and video only with your trusted friends. Immediately inform social media service providers if you notice any fake account. Many social networking sites prompt you download third-party applications. Never download third-party applications. Always use a strong password, as I shown previously. Do not share your vacation, travel plan, etc. This is a good source for any robber to rob your house. Do not allow social networking sites to scan your email account to look into your friends or send spam mails. Always keep your location service turned off. This is a very, very important thing. Never turn on your location services. I have seen many people used to turn on their location services. Never turn on location services. When app required, then only you turn on. Otherwise, don't turn on. When chatting with someone online and you feel suspicious about your chat partner, try asking some unrelated scientific questions so that if no response comes, then you can think that the one who is chatting with you is a robot. So do not hesitate to report if someone is posting offensive or abusive content in social media. So directly report it to the concerned authorities. Do not share your forward or unverified posts. Nowadays, many unverified posts are sharing in social media, and this is also a serious crime under cybersecurity. These are the general tips to make you safe and secure. Always keep your system devices updated with the latest patches. Protect the system or devices through security software. Always download software or application from known trusted sources only. And do not provide your PIN to anyone and OTPs to anyone. And don't give the admin password for Wi-Fi routers to anyone. Be cautious while browsing on the public Wi-Fi's. Always use the virtual keyboard in the net banking. Don't use your keyboard, use virtual keyboard. Do not scan email attachments for virus uh, before opening them. Be careful while sharing identity proof. Note IMEI code of your cell phone always and keep it in safe place. Observe your surroundings for skimmers. Discuss safe internet practices and net equities with your friends and family regularly. Do not save your card or bank account details in your e-wallet. If you think you are compromised, inform the authorities immediately. How to inform? This is a very, very important thing. Everyone can note it on paper. Visit the nearest police station immediately if it is available. To report cybercrime complaints online, visit the National Cybercrime Reporting Portal. This portal can be accessed at cybercrime.gov.in. create an account there and report your complaint. Or directly you can make a call to the helpline number. Everyone must note it or save it in your mobile phones. 155260. If any fraudulent activity on your internet banking or in the banking transactions was identified, immediately you make a call to that number 155260. This call should be made with the phone number that is linked to the bank. For example, from an account, some amount was deducted. And that account is linked with some mobile number. From that mobile number, you need to call this number 155260. Immediately inform the transaction number and time was around what time it was happened. So usually whenever it is detected, immediately this will be sent to a pool of money, and from this bank, another bank where it is going, there also a pool of money waiting will be there, and after approval, that amount will be deposited in the receiver's account. In this transit, if you immediately make phone call to this 155260, this information will go to all banks, and it is also linked with the RBI also. So hence, in the transit, at any time, it can be broken and the amount can be refunded. So this number is a very important number. In case you receive or come across a fraud SMS, email link, phone call asking for your sensitive personal information or bank details, please report on Maharashtra Cyber Portal by visiting reportphishing.in. Sometimes they will make a phone call to you and say that your student loan was not refunded and your student loan was not done like this, and they will say that we are going to sue in the court. This kind of calls you will get. These are the very dangerous calls. When you got these calls, immediately report on the reportphishing.in. Refer to latest Aadhaar advisories which is issued by certin.gov.in. Report any adverse activity or unwanted behavior to CERT-in using the following channel. You may write to here, or you can call the help desk number like this. This is a very, very important help desk number. Once you make a phone call, you provide the following information: time of occurrence of the incident, information regarding affected system or network, symptoms observed. So after affecting what you have observed, whether all files have been encrypted and asking for ransom, or what kind of thing you have seen on the system, that must be immediately reported. And this is also another helpline number to report lost or stolen mobile phones. File a FIR with the police. Okay, because the stolen phones are used by terrorists nowadays for their communication, and that phones are thrown. The SIM card from the mobile phone will be taken out, and the phones are throwing away once the work is over. So if the police was found that phone number, automatically they will trace the IMEI number. So that reason previously the IMEI number is to be noted and keep in safe place. That is the instruction given. So whenever this FIR was filed, then that you are at safe side, and immediately after with this FIR, you call on the number 14422 and report this complaint with FIR that we have booked the FIR and this is the IMEI number. And also you may register this equipment identity register portal by visiting this number, so that after verification, Department of Telecommunication will blacklist the phone, blocking it from further use. In addition to this, if anyone tries to use the device using the different SIM card, the service provider will identify the new user and inform to the police. So for more information on step-by-step process of filing complaints, you may go through the citizen manual for cybercrime reporting portal at this particular website. And this is a nowadays most frequently happening thing in the internet, in the social media, how to report fake profiles on Facebook. you may be seeing that same fake profile was created and they may request for the money that I am in very bad condition because of the COVID or something. Please send me some money like that. So log into your Facebook profile. Don't panic at the time. Log into your Facebook profile. Search for or go to the fraudster's profile via search bar. So at the left top corner, you will find the search bar in the Facebook. Go to the fraudster profile via search bar. In that profile page, on the right corner, you will find the following. See, you will find like this: friends, message, three dots you will find. You click on these three dots. Click on these three dots to see following: search profile, find support or report profile, block. So these are the three things are there. So now go to the find support or report profile. Click on find support or report profile. When you do like this, you will get the options like this. Please select a problem. Pretending to be someone, spam or harmful, not using real name, posting inappropriate things, harassment or bullying, I cannot access my account, I want to help, something else. So whatever the topics that I have discussed, like cyber frauds, are falling under these categories only. So, for example, if they are pretending to be as you or as your friend, you can click that pretending to be someone. Once you click this, then you will get the report like this. Who are they pretending to be? That is me, a friend, celebrity. You can click on me so that immediately this will be going to the Facebook customer care and technical cell. At the same time, you may ask your friends also to do the same and click a friend. So whenever your friend clicks like this, a friend, it will ask you who is that friend. Then that your friend may refer to your profile, and that is also recorded and will go to the Facebook technical support. So immediately when they receive this kind of things in a bulk at a certain moment, like 20, 30, like that, immediately they will do faster action. There is not like that if you report, it won't do action. It will also do the action, may take some time. But if your friends also doing the same activity, then immediately they will respond and will block the fake identity profile. So this is how to report the fake profile to Facebook. So I told you in the presentation that never share your sensitive pictures or pictures on the social media. The reason is, if you look at this exif regex.info, Jeffrey's image metadata viewer, in this, click this, I am not a robot, and choose a file. This is an image file. Now here I am choosing a file, like this is the file, this is the image I am selecting. This image was taken by our university for entering into the website data. So once I selected this and gone for view data, view image data. So fraudsters may collect the sensitive, fraudsters may collect the photos from your social media. They may use the analysis like this. So you look at here, this image was taken by Nikon D7000. So Nikon D7000 camera has been used to take this picture. That means whenever you take a picture from mobile phone or from any camera, automatically the metadata will be attached to that image. And not only metadata, that metadata consisting of the information about the camera, information about the system, and also the location coordinates if you have turned on the location. And what type of lens they have used: 34mm lens. Manual exposure is 1/60 second, and frame 6.3, ISO 100. Flash, you look at here, flash off. Flash is also off at the time. And it was taken on November 15, 2016 at 10:46 a.m. File size, this is the file size. Like this, total details of this image will get. So with this, any fraudster can come to know the mobile information. That is, what is the mobile brand you are using, from in which location you have taken this image, any other sensitive information, whatever he want, he can get obtained via this image forensic. And here are the references from which this entire topic was taken.